Ansley Stearns.
Okay, sir, I don't know if I've ever told you this story. My mother, when I was first interviewing for jobs right out of college, there were a couple of things that were important to her, and many of them had to do with my attire. I still have the very first suit that I interviewed in when I got my first job at a
Oh,
credit union. Yes.
dang.
And one of the things that
I
was
have questions
very
about that,
important,
but we'll get
yeah,
to it.
yeah, there are many things. One of the things that she said is you must wear pantyhose. And I was like, no, I'm not wearing pantyhose. And she's like, you're not getting a job if you don't wear pantyhose. So
Wow.
that was important. It worked. So I'm going to say she knew what she was talking about.
I would say so. But you didn't there was no control. You didn't test the no pantyhose. So to be fair, it could have worked, but
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Have you?
remember my mom driving me to my first. I was so eager to get a job. I don't know why. I think I just wanted a little independence. One of four, my mom was phenomenal and managed our house and did all the things. And I think I just wanted my own dollars to do what I wanted with them. And my friends, my really good friends, um, they went out and got jobs. And so, there was a store that was like, think about like if you could imagine a less nice version of Walmart in St. Louis called Grandpa's, if you can imagine. And it
Grandpas.
was a retail store. And my friends had already gotten a job there, and I was really eager to do that. And I think I was 15 and a half was when you could have a worker's permit. So it was before I could drive. And so, anyways, yeah, she was really like, I don't think I needed one. And she was just kind of like, why are you doing this kind of thing? And yeah, but she dropped me off. I think the advice was very much more confusion on her part and just like good luck kind of thing, like you're on your own. But I think that worked really well and it ended up working out and I got a job. So
What's also funny is when I got this job, so when I got the CEO job, I called her. She was my first phone call. And I told her, and she said, you know what? I said, I don't. She said, you told me that this was your dream and that this is what you were going to do. And she was talking about maybe 2 years after I got that first credit union job. And she's like, I remember how excited you were and what you thought you needed to do and why it mattered. And she's like, I can't believe that you said you were going to do that. And I had no idea what
yeah,
that meant.
so many lessons,
Great.
intentional and unintentional, that we learned from our moms.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, what have you had a person at work who was a mom who gave you really good advice ever?
I have to tell you, the moms that I work with, and
Yeah.
there are many, inspire me so much. I probably need to tell them that because they do so much at work and at home, and I think they take lessons learned on both sides and apply them. And before I was a parent, I had absolutely no idea. Um, but I absolutely think like you can learn a lot. It's stressful, it's a lot, but like when I go to interview and I know somebody and find out that somebody's a parent and they're managing all the things, it's like I can't help but be a little biased towards that person because I know that they have to manage a lot and they have to be able to deal with conflict and they have to be able to be resilient, and have to bounce back, and maybe their morning started last night and they're still showing up in their best and just you know um, just have that attitude about them that they can get it done, and they do. And so yeah, I have countless examples of people that I work with right now who really somehow do it all, and I have so much respect for parents and moms that do that.
I loved going to work with my mom. She taught school and I had big lessons from her about how much you put in. She never left when the bell rang. She's always sitting there grading papers. And I wasn't cognizant of it at the time. And She would come in and paint her room with paint she bought. She would buy books. The commitment she had was a really important inspiration, I think, for the way I see the commitment you can bring and passion you can bring to what you do.
Absolutely. I think there's also like my observation, this is parents, but moms as well, is there's a level of like connection that you can have if you're also a parent, but even if you're not and you're having conversations with somebody who's a caretaker. I mean, there's just, I think, a required amount of vulnerability to like get through it. And so like I think I've always kind of managed to develop a really good connection with those moms and parents because of that. It's really challenging, and we don't always get things right, and it requires, I think, a lot of self-reflection and humility because you're going to make mistakes, and I think that's just a really good kind of trait for somebody in the workplace, especially.
Yes. My saddest mom at work story for me, I probably have a lot more, and this one was tough. I love Bring Your Kiddo to Work Day, and you and I
Yeah,
got to plan a bunch of those
yeah,
together, and we
we
do it
still, by the way,
here.
that is still a tradition here. We go all in on it. It's a big deal.
It's so great. And the year that I was so excited to go home and tell Mackenzie that it was Bring Your Kiddo to Work Day, and she was like, "Do I have to?"
Oh, dang,
You love this. I've been telling everyone how much you love this. Oh no, you don't love it anymore.
dang.
You learn much from your parent and much from the
Expect the
kid.
unexpected.
Yes.
You
Okay,
just
well, in
don't know.
honor of Mother's Day, what's something you might share about your mom that inspires you or that is a really amazing memory?
Yeah, my mom was a really empathetic, kind, and patient person in a way that I will never be, but try to remember, especially as a parent. And, she really did take the time to understand and to be there for people. I think that is one thing that I definitely took, is I am at every possible junction there, whether it's just on the phone or if I'm volunteering and coaching, which is what I'm doing right now. I suddenly had to learn lacrosse, which is really more complicated than people give it credit for, I think. At least I was. But yeah, I think presence is everything. And so I think that was a big lesson that I've learned, is just to try to be present, not, again, if you're not able to actually be there, be somebody is emotionally available and that you can connect with, because that was something my mom did really, really well.
Love that.
How about for you?
I didn't realize this until we did the Despite Impossible podcast. And it's something that I love to think about now, which is she's so fearless. As she was telling her story on the podcast, she was talking about how she went to Europe to marry my dad. She sold her violin to get her Beetle, and she sold her Beetle to get her plane ticket to marry my dad. And she's telling all these stories across the course of her life. And I have all these fears, and she has none. I'm afraid of bridges. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of so many things. I don't think she has a fear in life. And I didn't see her that way because she is, as you describe your mom, very empathetic and very thoughtful and very kind. And she's super fearless. And I love that she is now an 80-year-old fearless badass.
Yeah, yeah, she is badass. She really is.
Oh, well, so okay, one last question. What's a piece of advice you have for a young professional who's not yet a parent and is thinking about being a parent and working? What's one lesson that keeps you going?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I was talking to our CEO. This was last year, and we hadn't worked together long enough. I don't think I didn't really explain that I coach, and I was really worried about it.
Yeah.
And I was working myself up to have the conversation to say like, hey, listen, I gotta leave early. I don't get to go to all the things right now. It's just a phase of life. I wish I could do more networking. I wish I could we do these amazing dinners, and I try to go to as many as possible because it's really, really important for our culture. But also, like, the sports I happen to coach are spring, well, and now fall too, it feels like. And so I went in and I was, not sure what to expect. And the advice that I got was you're going to learn so much from like coaching. I learned a ton from coaching. So thankfully, I have a really supportive leader. So for those young professionals, don't look at it as mutually exclusive from your development. You can learn a tremendous amount from parenting, from coaching that you can then turn around and apply. I talked a little bit about the traits of, a working mom, and I think, all of that is spot on and can really help people continue to develop. But I would say the same. There's so much opportunity to get better as a person, and that carries over into the workplace. So don't be anxious about it. Be excited about it.
Love that.
What's your advice with a pause?
Mm. It's nearly impossible to accomplish. And my advice would be let go of the guilt. I carried so
Mm,
much guilt for how much I worked and my career and the commitment that I have to changing the world through cooperative finance and the travel I've done and hours I put in. And I took it on the chin from a lot of people a lot of times about, oh gosh, your daughter must be suffering, your family must be suffering. And there's no doubt that it has had an impact, and all of us have made sacrifices. And I do think that what you talked about in terms of being present is possible even when you're very committed. And I don't believe that Mackenzie and my relationship has suffered. And I do think that while there are different ways to be around that other parents choose, and I really support those. The way that I show up for her in the times that we have time together is epic. And the lessons she learns because of my commitment to work are things that will impact her in different ways. And being a great parent can come in a lot of different forms, and you can
absolutely.
make what that form is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I was like literally losing my cool with both of my sons yesterday, coaching and saying to myself, like, this is going to kill our relationship. The fact that I was present wasn't necessarily the most positive presence for them. But that happens sometimes for those of you
Yeah.
who've been in those moments. But I would not rate it as quality time yesterday. I have some making up to do this week. But I still love them dearly.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, happy Mother's Day to all the
Yeah,
moms out there.
absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Yay. All right. Thanks, friend. All right. Huzzah. Whee!